go. Oh, dropped it. It's a good fish too. No. Oh, there's a big fish. Come on, hit that. There's one over there. Spoiled it. Come on, hit it again. He's still there. I'm watching him, mate. Come on. Mate, I'm shaking, mate. He was just flirting with it. Oh, yep, got it. Yeah. Oh, yep. Oh. Got it. No. Come on. Still there. Got it now. Come on. Jesus. There's no question they want this little frog. Just got to get the hook up right. Come on. That's a better take. Oh. Oh! Oh, Jesus. Summer's on its way, which means bass are about to start busting the surface, so topwater fishing for bass early season, like coming in October, November, can be a whole lot of fun. So in this video I'm going to take you through how I like to chase bass with frogs and why I like to choose 2 frogs to go fishing early morning to get my bass bites. This is a much bigger lunker hunt frog. It's got 2 props on the back end, and these finesse frogs are just dynamite on bass, especially early morning or late afternoon. Let me take you through how I like to fish them. Oh. Oh, go. Oh, dropped it. It's a good fish too. No. Just trying to get in underneath that curtain there. It's shooting right up into that clay beam. Oh, yep, got it. Yeah. Oh, it's ripping me underneath that overhanging ledge of brush in there. Look at that, go. That's a better take. Oh. It's a beautiful fish too. He's easy legal. Come here, buddy. Not done. Have a look at that. That's summertime bass fishing at its best. Just throwing in these little finesse frogs and getting onto these beautiful fish. God, they just give such a good account of themselves. There you go, buddy. I was just starting to think it might have been time to change. I've been fishing this little finesse frogs up under cover, and it's just really sort of speckled cover this morning because the tide's so low. But I reckon maybe that's the pattern this morning, is to get onto these edges with all of this grass and then throw this along the edge. So I just sighted up to that edge there and started to bring it along. I had one fish sort of sit underneath it, and as soon as I moved it, it took off, which is, to me, it was alarm bells, like, oh, they're not really in that real, you know, biting mood. The very next cast, changed my mind, so I'll keep going, see if we can get a couple more. See if I can attack these areas with heaps and heaps of foliage on the edge. Been throwing around some awesome cover this morning, like you can see back in there, all of that brush. I've been up in under there, sneaking little casts around for nothing, or basically nothing, a couple of little boils and things. But that was the kind of aggressive take that you're after. Trying to find these fish that are feeding. Alright, here's another little section that looks the goods. See if I can repeat the same thing. And see the edges, like it's still about 2 feet too low to really get in underneath those cut banks and those little caves that they love to sit in and feed from. Maybe it's all of this heavy grass that they're sitting in, just waiting to get around in there. Yep, I'm on again. Same thing. Oh, God, they go hard this time of year. It's so good. You can see this, look at that grass in there. They just love to sit in there. Oh. Come here, buddy. Should be using the net, just getting a bit lazy. Oh, look at that. It's got a little bit of a stunted like dorsal fin there, eh? God, these things are good to look at. The way they're just built for it. Those eyes on top of the head like that, like just coming up and belting anything above it. He's ready to go, mate. He's keen. Oh, man. Well, that looks like the answer this morning, so I'm going to keep doing that, see if I can get a few more fish. This is heaps of fun. I've been out trolling with the kids this week, so all my lines just full of twists, because the lures sort of get a little bit neglected if they start to foul up and you're trolling around on the flats for a while managing the kids in the boat. Sometimes you just bring them in and they've just been, you know, completely abused. Anyway, there we go, let's go again. You might see that I'm just like constantly adjusting this little frog, And it's really important that you've got it rigged right. Hopefully you can pick this up. I run with a little piece of plastic underneath the chin there, and I've only got it just nipped through the top of the plastic, and then because it's a weedless setup, I'm punching it in against these reeds really hard all the time. It's copping a flogging, and it just gets bashed up a lot. But it's really important that you rig it right so it swims right. Those little legs are really delicate in the way that they work properly. So if the frog's sort of sitting not right, or it's sitting upside down, or the hook's not set right, it just won't swim as well, and you're missing a lot of fish because that action on the lure's not right. So constantly just fixing it up, making sure it's right. Any little tiny bit of reed that's on it, I just rip it off and fix it and chuck it back in. Even the gauge of the hook's important as well, so I've got like a real finesse gauge hook. And then I just make sure that my rod tip is sort of above the lure and pulling it up so that it just works a lot better. The line's not dragging through the water. I mean, I'm running a mono leader so that it sort of sits up and it doesn't pull it down with the fluorocarbon. But even at that, I'm trying to help it out with the rod tip. They're such small little finesse lures that all of those little subtle differences, they definitely make a difference with the retrieve and the action you can get on it. And the sections where I'm fishing this, it's really like I'm running along a creek here that's got tidal flow, and my choice of lure comes down to a couple of things. Like I'm looking for areas of water flow where this thing's great, where there's water movement. Bringing this thing in to match that water movement and bring it in with the tide's a really good move. But then where it peters out, if it's a really slow section or a deep section where there's no water movement and there's no real cover apart from right in at the edge of the bank, that's when I'm swapping and fishing with my lunker hunt frog. And that makes a huge difference because you can stall this thing and just sit it in there and just let it stay there, and the bass are still really turned on by the way that thing sits and bobs about and the little legs move underneath the surface of the water at rest. So you can see, hopefully you can see here the way that it sits at rest. It's super lifelike, like a little frog at rest. And when it's stationary, like no tidal flow, and you need to keep in against the cover, this is definitely the way to go, this prop frog. I'm just constantly swapping between the two. I'm running a bait caster for the prop frog, mainly because really the control I've got casting with a bait caster for direction and just getting that accuracy down is way better than with a spinning outfit with a heavier lure like this. And it also slows me down a little bit. I'm just running, like, this is a 200 E5 Corrado. So most of my Jack Corrados are like 7s, 7.1 is to 1, 7.4 to 1. They're much higher speed to be able to really get line back and rip the lures back when I want to get another cast in. But this little 5 to 1, it just slows the retrieve down, which is way better for freshwater fish mostly. Just means that I still feel like I'm going quick because I just get jacked up and want to fish too fast, but it keeps the retrieve on the lure pretty slow. Really important with bass, especially when you're fishing in sections where there isn't a lot of tidal flow. You know, the bass know that if it is a frog, it's not getting away too quick. It should be sitting there for a while. So a lot comes down to how long you can sit it there for a bass in those slower conditions, and that's even like the finish on the lure, the appeal of the lure. Something spooked it. We're just coming up to a section now where this prop frog's going to come into its own because it's really still and deep. Hopefully I can sort of show you exactly what I mean by just slowing it down and getting the bite.